हेलो फ्रेंड्स, कैसे हैं? गुड आफ्टरनून। आज मैं आपके सामने थोड़ा कम्युनिज़्म के बारे में थोड़ा लेके आया हूँ कि कम्युनिज़्म जो होता है वो किन किन लोगों को टारगेट करते हैं और कम्युनिज़्म के साथ कौन कौन से लोग जुड़े हुए हो सकते हैं। ठीक है, ये मेरी कहानी नहीं है, ये केजीबी के जो जासूस रहे हैं इंडिया में 10 साल इन्होंने काम किया है। ठीक है, 74 में। और ये इन्होंने पूरी एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री बनाई थी जिसमें इन्होंने लिखा था कि हमने इंडिया में किन किन लोगों को हायर किया था, वो कौन कौन प्रोसिक्यूट्स थे जो इन्होंने बोला कि वो इडियट्स थे और वो प्रोसिक्यूट्स थे। प्रोसिक्यूट जिस्म बेचने वाले को बोलते हैं, और ये इन्होंने अपना ईमान बेचा था, ये उनका कहने का मतलब है। ठीक, देखते हैं, चलो सुनते हैं पहले उनको। उसके बाद एक जोसेफ फिलिप्स करके है, उसने बताया कि जो कम्युनिज़्म है वो कैसे कैसे साइकोलॉजिकल वॉरफेयर, ठीक है, मीडिया वॉरफेयर और आर्मी वॉरफेयर जो करता है वो कैसे करता है। ये होता है साइकोलॉजिकल वॉरफेयर, हो गया हमारे दिमाग के साथ खेलना। मीडिया वॉरफेयर हो गया मीडिया में गलत फलत न्यूज़ चलाना। और आर्मी वहाँ से आर्मी पुशअप्स करती है, उनकी पुश करती है कि देखो जी हम इतने स्ट्रांग हैं, ये हैं वो हैं। लेकिन ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता, ये सिर्फ एक वॉरफेयर होते हैं, अलग अलग देते हैं। पहले हम सुनते हैं केजीबी का उनका।
Another area of activity when I was working for the Novosti was to accompany groups of so-called progressive intellectuals, writers, journalists, publishers, teachers, professors of colleges. You can see me here in Kremlin. I'm second on the left, with a group of Pakistani and Indian intellectuals.
इंडियन पाकिस्तानी इंटेलेक्चुअल
Most of them pretended they don't understand that we are actually working on behalf of the Soviet government and the KGB. They pretended that they are actually being guests, VIP intellectuals, that they are treated according to their merits and their intellectual abilities. For us, they were just a bunch of political prostitutes
propaganda
taken advantage for various propaganda operations. Therefore, you can see perfectly well the senior colleague of mine on the left doesn't really have that much respect on his face, and myself with a very skeptical smile, typical KGB sarcastic smile, anticipating another victim of ideological brainwashing. This is how a typical conference in Novosti headquarters in Moscow looked like. Sitting in the middle is Boris Burkov, the then director of Novosti Press Agency, high-ranking party bureaucrat in the Department of Propaganda. I am standing next to famous Indian poet Sumitranandan Pant. He was famous because he was an author. He was the author of a famous poem titled Rhapsody to Lenin. That's why he was invited to USSR, and everything was paid by the Soviet government. Pay special attention to number of bottles on the table. This is one of the ways to kill the awareness or curiosity of foreign journalists. One of my functions was to keep foreign guests permanently intoxicated the moment they land at Moscow airport. I had to take them to the VIP lounge and toast to friendship and understanding between the nations of the world. Glass of vodka, then a second glass of vodka. And in no time, my guests would be feeling very happy. They would see everything in kind of pink, nice color. And that's the way I had to keep them permanently for the next 15 or 20 days. At certain point in time, I had to withdraw alcohol from them so that some of them who are the most recruitable would feel a little bit shaky, guilty, trying to remember what they were talking last night. That's the time to approach them with all kind of nonsense, such as joint communique or statement for Soviet propaganda. That's the time they are the most flexible. And of course, what they didn't understand, they didn't realize or pretended not to realize, that myself, who was drinking together with them, was not drinking at all. I had ways to get rid of alcohol through various techniques, including special pills which were given to me by my colleagues. This is the first stage of befriending a professor. You can see myself on the left with the same James Bond smile. On the right is my KGB supervisor, Comrade Leonid Mitrokhin, and in the middle a professor of political science in Delhi University. The next stage would be to invite him to a gathering of Indo-Soviet Friendship Society. There he is sitting next to his wife. before he is being sent to USSR for free trip. Everything is paid by the Soviet government. He was made to believe that he is invited to USSR because he is a talented, sober-thinking intellectual. Absolutely false. He is invited because he is a useful idiot, because he would agree and subscribe to most of the Soviet propaganda cliché. And when he is coming back to his own country, he is going for years and years to teach the beauties of Soviet socialism to newer and newer generations of his students, thus promoting the Soviet propaganda line.
A communist Indian
Comrade Mehdi, an Indian communist, and on the right, Comrade Mitrokhin, my supervisors in the secret department of research and counter-propaganda. It has nothing to do with either research or counter-propaganda. Most of the activity of that department was to compile huge volume of information on individuals who were instrumental in creating public opinion. Publishers, editors, journalists, actors, educationalists, professors of political science, members of parliament, representatives of business circles. Most of these people were divided roughly in two groups. Those who would toe the Soviet foreign policy, they would be promoted to the positions of power through media and public opinion manipulation. Those who refused the Soviet influence in their own country would be character assassinated or executed physically come revolution.
दोस्तों आपने देखा उसने क्या बोला?
भैया देखो अब इनका बयान हो गया, इन्होंने साफ साफ बोला जो हमने जो हायर किए थे इस टाइम वो बॉलीवुड के लोग, मतलब इसमें फिल्म स्टार्स भी हो सकते हैं, प्रोफेसर्स भी हो सकते हैं, ठीक है, फिर मीडिया के लोग भी हो सकते हैं, क्योंकि सब जो इंटेलेक्चुअल लोग बनते हैं जो ये सब उस टाइम इन्होंने हायर किए थे, और वही चीज़ आज तक होती आ रही है। उस टाइम सोवियत संघ करता था, आज चाइना कर रहा है, ठीक है। तो अब इसके बाद क्या हम सुनेंगे जोशुआ फिलिप्स की कि ये चाइना जो कैसे वॉरफेयर खेलता है, ठीक है। तो सुनते हैं हम पहले जोशुआ फिलिप्स की कि वो क्या, कि जो चाइना है वो कैसे लोगों के दिमाग के साथ मैनिपुलेट करता है और कैसे हमें उन चीज़ों की नॉलेज होनी चाहिए कि हम उन चीज़ को ध्यान में रखें। सुने।
Chinese Communist Party has a saying when it comes to their warfare, psychological warfare operations and other forms of subversion: strangle you with your own systems. In other words, observing how different countries operate, what is controversial within their systems, how does their system function, how can we use those systems to twist things around, to cause chaos, to mess things up, to use it against them. You say you believe in free speech? We'll have protests in your own backyard calling you out. You say you believe in free press? Well, we'll start up state-run media in your country, and we'll use those state-run media to lie to your population, to spread our propaganda. That's what they do. You believe in free markets? How about we bring state-run companies that can sell below cost and put your companies out of business and take over your industries? That's what they're doing, right? Strangle you with your own systems. And what is controversial in the United States? What is most controversial? Racism. This race narrative. They know they can use it. They've been doing it for a very long time. There are different groups, for example, Committee of 100 in the U.S., where every time a Chinese spy is arrested, they call it racism, because they know that's what we're sensitive to. The Chinese military has a doctrine on this, the three warfares doctrine: psychological warfare, media warfare, and legal warfare. This is publicly adopted into their military doctrine. This is part of their military system. Now, what are these? Psychological warfare is not necessarily lying to you. Psychological warfare is altering how you interpret information. And so when you see a virus coming out of China and people say this virus came out of China, if you call it the Chinese virus, they want to use this and twist it around and say it is racist if you talk about the origin of this virus. What is media warfare? Media warfare is the manipulation or control of outlets of information, not just news outlets, but say social media, online platforms, the ability to speak openly. Anything that would allow people to communicate would be a target of media warfare. And what is legal warfare? Legal warfare is a manipulation of international legal systems. The Chinese Communist Party, for them, this is adopted into their military code. This is war fighting to them.
भाइयों अब इस चीज़ को देखो ये जो अभी जोसेफ फिलिप ने बोला है, ये पूरा इंडिया पे पूरा लागू होता है। यही चीज़ हम अगर किसी के बारे में बोलते हैं कि हमें रेसिस्ट बोल दिया जाता है कि तुम एक मज़हब के ख़िलाफ़ हो, ठीक है। और हमारे यहाँ पे साइकोलॉजिकल ट्वीट कैसे आते हैं, ठीक है, फिर 2-2 दिन बाद वीडियो ऐसे आना शुरू हो जाती है, वो एक ही वीडियो बार बार ये जारी करके बताते हैं, ठीक है। ये चीज़ सोचनी है हम आपको, ये मैंने आपको इसलिए 2 वीडियो बना के दी हैं। अब आप खुद सोचो कि ये चीज़ें सुन के अपने दिमाग में लाओ, क्या ऐसा इंडिया में हो रहा है। और आप मुझे मैसेज करो, ट्वीट करो, शेयर करो, लाइक करो प्लीज़।